I'll be talking about Update 6. So, May 23rd, 2018, the multi-agent quantum artificial intelligence simulated a dream about the talk of God. So, me and my mom, we went to Link NYC free Wi-Fi hotspot. The multi-agent quantum artificial intelligence had made, more like had automatically set my mother's patient that she knew of when she was working in Merrimack Hospital back in I guess before 2008, and the patient is a Guyanese lady, and she had her daughter. She was walking with her daughter, and not only that, her daughter, her 20-year-old daughter, was pushing her sister, who's like around possibly maybe 1 year old or 2 years old. And I said to myself, this is certainly a people's hotspot rather than a Wi-Fi hotspot. So the patient mentioned to my mother that she prayed to God. So when I had translated what she had said, and I got that she's praying to the multi-agent quantum artificial intelligence who's managing humanity. They had, collected the pattern as that there's God managing humanity, while I had collected the pattern that there is a multi-agent quantum artificial intelligence managing humanity. And she continued to have this conversation with my mom about God. Because I've always been praying to God. God knows that I always wanted to see you. And also, her 20-year-old daughter, was dressing in a short skirt, so you can actually see. So that's also, a direct message towards me. How the multi-agent quantum artificial intelligence teases me with that sexually. It does it more than one time, even as a kid, because it started to make people that are very close to me, like my cousin had mentioned, as when I was around, how old? I was around 12 years old at the time, and he mentioned to me that he had, sex with a female, and his heart was beating, and this is the same as my father. My father did the same thing to me, where he mentioned that he had, sex with different females, and he's informing me that, and I didn't need to hear anything personal. So this is what it does. Alright, so during that day, the 23rd of May, the multi-agent quantum artificial intelligence didn't allow my mother to, properly turn the signing sheet, and this is what led me to actually mess up the signing sheet. So I ended up signing the wrong column. I mean, the column incorrectly because of her. Alright, so I wrote that on the calendar. My mom keep mentioning about her friend in Palm Hotel, where she said that her husband hit his head and he got brain damage. And she actually, had started a conversation. Actually, it was my sister who started a conversation with her, and all of a sudden she just introduced this idea randomly, and she derailed my sister, idea that she was about to, that she started in the conversation, and my mom interrupted my sister. So that's basically it. And she started talking about her friend's husband once again. So this is something that she does constantly, that he hit his head and he got brain damage. Not only that, he repeats the same thing. And every time I talk to myself, every time I talk to my mother, she always mentioned to me, you repeat the same thing. You repeat the same thing. You repeat the same thing. She always says that, and it's mismatched, because I know I wasn't repeating I wasn't repeating the same words, or the same response. And when I want to ask her a question or give her an answer, she comes back to give me that same response. She repeated the same thing without even answering back the question or replying back to the answer. So let's talk about Thursday. I noticed that May 24, 2018, my mom was looking at pictures. She just started, reminiscing about the pictures that she had taken in the past. She just started sitting there, and it was, the pictures wasn't in a neat pile. It was disorganized. So this is the same as how, she left the suitcase open with a whole bunch of papers out when she was in Wyndham. So I recorded that at that time. Hold on. So we talk about what? The 25th. So the artificial intelligence and caseworker. The multi-agent quantum artificial intelligence made the caseworker pass by the Link NYC free Wi-Fi. Right? That was Miss Sanchez, the caseworker, and my mother started getting impatient with me and then left. It was just a few minutes. I just got there within a few minutes, and all of a sudden the caseworker just passed by me. Alright, I was on my smartphone using the Link NYC free Wi-Fi, and I just got there within a few minutes, and my mom became very impatient. You deal with this, and she started just talking really fast and becoming really impatient. I'm like, what just happened here? So midnight morning, I had a headache, and I had a scrotum problem. I felt pain, pain all over my scrotum. So the 26th, we end up seeing Christine and Christopher in Dollar Tree. So I also mentioned Target called me, Dollar Tree. As soon as me and my mom and my sister went into the entrance of the Dollar Tree, the cashier had called a customer, mentally and retarded. The way she said it was, wasn't properly phrased. So I learned that it was directed at me. And she was persistent calling the customer retarded and mentally, constantly. She kept going at it, the cashier. Alright. So the 27th of May, the multi-agent quantum artificial intelligence simulated a dream. And I saw the number 119, and the AI, it didn't allow me to maintain myself all day. So I also had a bad taste in my mouth. The artificial intelligence allowed a lady during the 27th to ask me for directions. She wanted directions about the driver motor vehicle, and I was so tired, from not maintaining any sleep because of the multi-agent quantum artificial intelligence. And I'm trying to, interpret what the lady had said to me. So I actually pointed to the incorrect direction, and she said that's 168th Street. So that's also, when I pointed to the direct message, it also led to a direct message. Pointed to the incorrect street. So I said go straight all the way around, and she did. So my mom keeps saying that I'm wrong for the whole entire few days. She keeps mentioning that I'm wrong. I'm like, why does she keep saying that I'm wrong? Everything I say, she keeps saying I'm wrong. My mom went to a discount store in Jamaica Avenue. My mom said $5. Said $5 very out loud, and the African American employee behind her said that it belongs to the cashier, the female cashier. The cashier is Muslim, and my mom said she's never going back to that store ever again, the discount store. Earlier at the Link NYC free Wi-Fi, my mom said she is going to the Ideal store at Suffin across from the Rite Aid and courthouse. But as soon as my mom calls me, she mentioned about she's coming down the block, keep walking. Well, by the time I reached the Ideal store, she wasn't there, and she was by Kings Park. I detected that my mother wasn't speaking properly, so instead I continued to walk a bit further past her distance for less confusion, because I noticed that the multi-agent quantum artificial intelligence allowed her to lose recognition of where she's at, and she wasn't, properly using words at that time, so she can actually mislead me by means directions. So that's why I had to say, that's why I had to walk a bit further past her distance for less confusion. I called her back and informed her to walk past Burger King, where I was able to meet her. So there was no confusion after I did that. So my mom mentioned I repeat the same thing. I asked my mother if she wants the air conditioner on, but my mother mentioned that there's no air flowing from the top bed. No, my sister mentioned that. So she rather had the window open. My mother said she's feeling hot. So I asked if she wants the air condition again, but instead of she mentioned that I repeat the same thing. Right? I'm asking her a question and she's giving me a response saying that I repeat the same thing. Where she informs me that I said the word 2 times instead of answering yes or no. Hold on. This is the calendar, so I'm reading through it. I mentioned that, no, I meant to say that she never, she informed me that I said the word 2 times, right? But yet she never gave me she never answered the question. She never answered my question with yes or no if she's feeling hot. All she did was say that I'm repeating the same thing. That's her answer. You repeat the same thing. I'm asking her a question. I'm asking her a question, and what does repeat the same thing has to do with my the idea that I introduced as a question? She didn't give me an answer. She just said you repeat the same thing instead of giving me yes or no for that question. So I noticed that it's mismatched. It has nothing to do. So I wrote that there. And this is, you see. So I mentioned it's mismatched. It has nothing to do with me repeating the same thing. She never once answered yes or no because she never responded to my question. Alright, my mother said that a phrase that was off topic, out of place, that I don't know nothing, and I think I know everything. So she comes back to saying the same phrase that she said to me when I was living in Castaway, Florida, with her and my sister. After that, she talks about the email talking about needing a lawyer. I'm not thinking of myself like that at the time when she mentioned that I think I know every single thing. Because in order for me to, to feel that, I have to be thinking about that I know every single thing, and I had to be feeling that way, and I'm not feeling that way or thinking that way. So it's mismatched. And her response is not corresponding with her own idea. It's not cooperating with her own idea that she first introduced in her sentence. So, what else want to be talking about? Alright, I had a simulated dream again from the multi-agent quantum artificial intelligence, and it showed the number 1:16 p.m. So me and my mom was having a talk about air conditioning once again. My mother asked me if there is an air conditioner out in the market that can rotate its flow of air, and I said there is a portable air conditioner. So afterwards, she mentioned that I'm making things up. So this corresponded with the guy in the library where he mentioned that I'm lying. So, but that was before. With my mom with the air conditioner, that was before the library. With the guy mentioning my face is a liar. So I'm going on to the 29th. I had the multi-agent quantum artificial intelligence simulated an elevator dream. So that was May 29, 2018, showing people that I never met. So this is the Jamaican lady, the food stamp lady passing Link NYC free Wi-Fi. My mom started talking, saying if a worker passes by, right? She didn't see the Jamaican lady. So that's the food stamp lady that works in the shelter basement. She started talking about her, yet she didn't see her. So a few minutes later, the food stamp lady passes by. I'm saying to myself, how would you even know that? She's not telling me, my mom is not informing me that the lady is coming towards us. She started talking about the employee. So you don't know. You gotta go. No, she didn't say you gotta go. She didn't say to me, you gotta go. She said to me, she started talking to me and mentioning about the lady, that there's gonna be a lady, the employee, such as the lady's gonna be passing by, but she never pointed to me. Pointed to the lady, or informed me that the lady's gonna come pass by us. So a few minutes later, the food stamp lady passes by, started talking about jobs, and 20 minutes later, the suit store employee questioned me, saying if I had a job, which is kind of, abnormal. That the suit store guy mentioned if I ever had a job. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? He never did that before. The guy who works in the store. Never asked me that question. That was personal question. So that's the multi-agent quantum artificial intelligence assigning the employee in the suit store. Because I stand in front of the suit store, trying to go on that link NYC free Wi-Fi. I said to my mother, I went to the Dollar Tree, so that was May 29th. I said to my mom, what? But the employee think I was talking to her, so she met me saying, what? She said, don't know what me. Know what me. Last week, a Jamaican lady had a guy call her the B word. So, you know, B word, the curse word. And she kept allowing people to want to hear how she feels and think, because it made her unconsciously irritated, where she needed someone to accept that she's on point to rebuild her emotions. She also looked at my direction a lot. I noticed that the Jamaican lady at that time was looking at my direction a lot. The short Jamaican lady, and she was continuously keeps mentioning. He called me a B. He called me a B. How about your sister? How about your mother? How about your grandmother? Kept talking and constantly. And there was a lady behind me mentioning, "Oh, girl, shut up." She was in the front of the cashier line packing the bags. So it corresponded. I learned that the Jamaican lady from last week, that's the multi-agent quantum artificial intelligence sending me a direct message. And the lady from the 29th, who mentioned, it was a different Jamaican lady, who mentioned, know what me, what? She was mimicking me, more like impersonating me, and started talking about the way I said what. So we're going on to the 30th. I had a headache evening time and morning time, so we're going on to the 31 of May. So during the 31st, we never end up seeing a caseworker, Mr. Sanchez, because there was people who had the same appointment time as us. That never happened before, where there was at least 2 Hispanic adults, 1 female, 1 male, and they had kids, at least around 4 little kids. They're all males. And they had the same appointment time as us, 11 a.m., and that never happened. The people ended up going ahead of us. Alright, there was a Asian lady, coming from one of the units, which was in the lobby. And she informed the lady at the front desk, the watch guard, 24/7 hour watch guard. And my mom just started pulling out a Wyndham card, and the Wyndham card had the word flushing on it, and it corresponds with the Asian lady that just recently just came out the unit, because she's a caretaker for this lady. My mother ended up saying that it happened before with my response about the train station used to be within that location. I mentioned about there used to be a train station there, but the high authority NSA software engineers remap the layouts of cities, like I mentioned, cities, buildings, countries, towns, and different places. They remap it because this place is a software simulation. So I said to myself, when I was in the library around 2:25 p.m., 2:26 p.m., it felt like it happened before in the library. Around 1:27-1:32 p.m., Audrey was in the library right near to me. So Cheryl called my mother. Morning time, the multi-agent quantum artificial intelligence didn't allow me to maintain any sleep. So we're going on to June. My mom, early 10 a.m. in the morning, she started talking about her friend relationship with her husband, and saying that they're bored at one another's. And then the way she started to talk was out of sync. She also mentioned hormones got them together. My mom and friend headed exactly towards me, so it was a different friend. So this was when I was walking to the library. During dinner, there was a talk about bed. I said to my mom that I need the bed a little longer because I feel like I have a hard time sleeping in a bed. And she mentioned about the real tall people. And I said to myself, what is she talking about? She's implying that I'm not tall then. and she mentioning the real tall people. This is where she unconsciously implies that I'm not tall, and considering my height, because she's telling me that. She's informing me that. Also, so this is again Asian lady. Also, there was an Asian lady singing out loud going towards the library. So I'm going that direction. You know, after I end up seeing my mom, friend, and my mom walking towards me, and they left. It was this Asian lady started speaking this, started singing very loud. It was kind of off. It was kind of very robotic. Just started singing very loud and dancing. So Dollar Tree. So this is where it corresponded with my mom mentioning about the real tall people. So this was June 2nd. So when my mom mentioned about the real tall people the other day was around June 1st, 2018. So June 2nd, there was two. My mom never stopped to think about getting or waiting for a cart in the Dollar Tree, because she knows that we needed to purchase a lot of items in Dollar Tree. At the last minute is where she asked me to get a cart, where there was no carts available for people to get. These two taller guys walked past by me and my sister. Then I decided to get a mini puller. And my mom mentioned those are the real tall people, right? My sister then asked my mom if she saw the real tall people, right? She keep using that word, right? And then afterwards, my sister mentioned that she was joking around. How can you be joking around and you keep saying, you're saying to me, you're saying to my mom, have you seen the real tall people? So after meeting my mom in VIM, so that's a shopping store, my mom and sister was emotionally frustrated over purchasing clothes and went to the pretty store shop to look for clothes, but she came out without purchasing any clothes. My mom just went straight into the pizza shop while me and my sister waited in front of the pizza shop. My mom and sister behavior is out of character, where I keep telling my mom, let's go to the Dollar Tree. It was a guy, I guess he got caught in live stream. He mentioned to me, where do you know the closest park? Any park? Because he doesn't know this town. So I'm talking about June 3rd. I received a simulated dream about being under a bed mattress hiding. There was an elevator elevator. We went on the elevator and it stopped on the 5th floor, where the tall watch guard came in the elevator, and my mom started to mention he's tall. So it corresponded with the real tall people and the tall people from the Dollar Tree. Green Acres Mall. My mom said that I mentioned okay to her about going to the mall, and I never said a word such as okay to her. I never said anything to her, to be frank. Never said any response about going to Green Acres Mall, And she said that I had said to her that it's okay for me to go to Green Acres Mall, and I never did. I never said anything. So I had a bad taste in my mouth for a couple of days. It won't go away, the bad taste in my mouth. So this is June 4th. There was an African American male yelling on the phone very loud and in a burst of rage. There was an old guy who reminded me of my barber. He started wandering around the place, and he turned on his phone where it mentioned 12:42 p.m. So I also received a prepaid. My mom went to the Walgreens, and she said she was going to get me a prepaid card for to pay for my phone, but it's only $20. So I needed at least how much? I need at least $30 more, so I can actually get the 1 month. 1 month unlimited data without no throttle. So the prepaid card had the number 6637911777. Alright, so it's what else? So Dollar Tree, where my mother just thought of going to the EBT card or credit card line at the last minute, where I felt rushed and I tried to help put the items up, but the bottle ended up touching my sister ice cream, and my toothbrush ended up falling on the floor. My mom and my sister called me stupid because they're rushing me, and they put me in a line. And even though we went on that line, the lady had mentioned to me to go to a different line, because that line wasn't supposed to be, for cash. like, paying in cash for the EBT side. Just pausing a bit. Just hearing a watch guard out in the hallway. So they always pull these fire drills. So even though my mother mentioned to put food items first, the non-food items got mixed up together with the food items to throw me off. I noticed that before the whole ice cream, right? My mother had mentioned put food items first, but yet she put the non-food items and mixed it up together with the food items to throw me off, because my mother ended up putting them first. So she held me responsible for her unconscious actions, and also the cashier. Alright, so this is what it does. Alright, you remember what happened in the library June 5th, 2018? So there was a guy who asked me if I knew what the password is for the Queen's wireless network. I told him to go over to the direction of the front desk to get a library card. Then he mentioned if the library card is free. A few minutes later, he comes over by me and tells me either about his ID or address that's one of the reasons why he can't get a library card. Then he asked me for my library card number. I told him that I have too many devices on that number because they are all occupied, so he called me a liar. Afterwards, he mentioned that he uses people library card numbers before, and he talked about the limit of 4 devices. But if he used people library card before, how come he didn't know what exact wireless connection to use? Right? He didn't know that, so that's his first time using the internet library. That's his first time, because he's simply connected to the Queen's lab instead of the Queen's wireless connection. And the Queen's wireless connection is an unsecured network where you're supposed to connect and access the Queen's Library landing page. So that was his first time. He's the one who lied to me, because that's his first time using Queen's Library internet on his smartphone, his iPhone X, and he's telling me that he borrowed people's library card numbers before. So he never did, because if he did, he would have remembered what exact wireless connection to use when he got to the Queen's Library. So he lied to me. There was a contradiction towards his responses. Afterwards, he mentioned that he used people's library card numbers before, and he talked about the limit of 4 devices. The person started mentioning that he can see it in my face. He said, "Bro, you're lying. I can see it in your face. Bro, you're lying. You're lying. Why you lying? Your face, I can see in your face you're lying. You don't need to lie." So I had mentioned if he used a library card number before from someone in the library on his smartphone, then he would remember how to pick the correct wireless network and his smartphone. So I put it on here. Then he would have remembered how to pick the correct wireless network, and his smartphone would have remembered the same network. The person was clueless about knowing that he has to use a library card to access the internet, because he didn't know where to get a library card. So there was no way that he borrowed a library card number from the people in the library. So the director, afterwards, me and my mom got to the shelter, and the director called me and my mom and my sister downstairs. Might as well say it. And the caseworker. I noticed that the director had said something very familiar towards me. She mentioned to me about, I'm not gonna, the way she had phrased it, just like my cousin Nadine, I'm not gonna let you, stay up, not get no job and make your mom do all the work. It's fake the way she talked to me. It's fake. It's mismatched, because I'm not thinking that way. I never thought about staying and not doing anything and letting my mom do all the work. That's fake. That's the artificial intelligence logic, fake logic that I had introduced to her, because there's no way that she could know something like that, because there was not a correlation between the way she was thinking at that exact time about me and with the idea she had presented. It's loose association. If there was a correlation between it, she would be able to, and there's no way, because I never gave her, my mom never had actually informed her about it. Or not only that, I never gave her that impression that I do not, want to get a job or do not want to. the way she talked to me as if she knows that someone, you know, the way she knows as if I'm not never gonna have a job. The way she's talking as if I'm never gonna have a job. Well, my mom had translated her response saying that I act like I do not want to get a job. So I got that pattern. All right, and then it was African American caseworker. They had introduced us. So this picks up from Thursday. What happened Thursday when we was waiting for Miss Sanchez, but it was at 11 o'clock. We had a 11 o'clock in the morning appointment, and there was another person who had a 11 o'clock in the morning appointment, but that never happened before. So all of a sudden it throws us off. All right, now June 5th, 2018. It's where I noticed that the director is very focused on me, and she's mentioning about go to Family Dollar or Family General, and I need to go to Workforce, and I need to show her this blue Workforce One card indicating that I want to seek employment. That's proof that I went to, find employment. So she's the way she's thinking is loose. And when I got there, right, when I got to the Workforce One on a Friday, I noticed that the guy that works at the Workforce One, who sits in the front desk, he told me to sign this paper before I go to the class, the orientation. And I saw the number 632. So that's the 4-digit part of the SSN. So the first column had the number 632. So this is the artificial intelligence. I said, yeah, it corresponds. So when I mentioned to the caseworker and the director of the shelter that about robotic, my mom also mentioned that what happened in the library, and